The insane evolution of F1 engines, which will not change for 4 years. The 1950s F1 cars used all sorts of engines, but today that has changed. There is a spectacular side to F1 engines now, and for years, several engine regulations have directed productivity. Since the very start of Formula One, winning races depended on majorly two things: the driver as well as the car. The part of the driver is clear. However, there is more to say about the car, because it depends on how the manufacturer chooses to approach the formula. For the fact that there are many components to a Formula One car, each part plays a unique role in making the car go faster in the turns and accelerate in the straights. However, the two main components of the Formula One car are the engine supplying power to the car and the aerodynamics of the car itself. Initially, Formula One cars were designed to look like fighter airplanes to have a streamlined body. The first F1 cars were built with 1.5-litre supercharged engines using pre-war Voiturette engine regulations, and a fun fact is that BRM, one of the teams at the time, had a V16 engine. The regulations that began in 1950 lasted till 1960, post-World War II. However, 1952 ushered a rather surprising change, where it was regarded as the Mini era up to 1953. The cars were small compared to the previous cars as a result of insufficient constructors in Formula One. Then F2 regulations were used for the cars only, and not other aspects of racing and circuits. This time, following the feeder series regulation, the cars had 2-litre engines, where most of them were L4, L6 and a couple of V8s. In this era, engines were running at the back of the cars and were initially underpowered. When the regulations were made to limit the speeds of the car, there were criticisms, and later years saw a 50% increase in average power and faster lap times. But while the old age had its engine peculiarities, the enormous changes of the last decade alone cannot be overlooked. In 2011, engines that powered F1 cars were aspirated 2.4-litre V8s that revved to 18,000 RPM and weighed at least 95 kilograms. They included early hybrid technology with the KERS unit and harvested kinetic energy from the car under braking. The KERS boosted the engine's peak power output to around 815 horsepower. Fast forward to the present day, and an F1 car's source of power is remarkably different. Since the introduction of hybrid regulations in 2014, the sport has used turbocharged 1.6-litre V6 power units, which hit the scales at 145 kilograms, following the minimum regulation weight and rev up to 15,000 RPM. In 2014, the FIA announced the change from 2.4-litre V8 to 1.6-litre V6 hybrid engines. The new regulations easily allowed kinetic and heat energy recovery systems and forced induction. Also, the era ushered fuel flow restrictions without limiting boost levels. The 2014 engine sounded very different due to the lower rev limit, slated at 15,000 RPM, as well as the turbocharger. Although superchargers are allowed, all constructors opted to use a turbo. The last time turbo appeared in Formula One was in 1988, but from 2014 to 2021, these engines have had their efficiency improved through turbo compounding and gaining recovery energy from exhaust gases. The energy recovery systems such as KERS had a boost of 120 kilowatts and 2 megajoules per lap. KERS was renamed Motor Generator Unit, Kinetic, or MGU-K. The heat energy recovery systems were also allowed under the name Motor Generator Unit Heat. The 2015 season was an improvement on 2014, adding about 20 to 40 kilowatts to most engines, the Mercedes engine being the most powerful with 649 kilowatts. Of the previous manufacturers, only Mercedes, Ferrari and Renault produced engines to the new formula in 2014, whereas Cosworth stopped supplying engines. Honda returned in 2015 with their own engine, while McLaren used Honda power, changing from Mercedes power in 2014. In 2019, Red Bull switched from using a Renault engine to Honda power. For 2022, the power units are more refined. The current 1.6-litre turbo hybrid V6 units are also set to be retained in 2022. F1 inducted the new power units in 2014 to mark the beginning of the V6 turbo hybrid era. The new power units created less noise compared to the previously used V8 and V10 engines. The cars use fuel made up of compounds normally found in commercial fuels with no specific power-boosting chemical compounds. Nowadays, a minimum of 10% of the fuel must comprise advanced sustainable ethanol. However, the cars will run on more sustainable fuel from 2022. There is a quest to make these engines more efficient rather than introducing a new one. However, as it stands, F1 will continue with the same set of power units in 2022. As we expect the commencement of the new season, there is no denying that Formula One engines have come a long way, and it would only be fun to watch them battle it out on the tracks. Subscribe to the channel and ring the notifications bell to stay tuned to the channel. If you enjoyed the video, like and share the video with your friends.